Hello, welcome back to PlayStation Access. I'm Nathan. I'm here with Dave.
Hello.
Dave, this is Dark Souls.
Yes, I remember this.
Remember this getting flashbacks to this guy?
I remember this guy very well.
So this is we got the chance to play a few hours of Dark Souls 3 recently, and this is I've called it 5 bosses, Dave, that are in the game that I wanted to show you guys. They're not all really bosses, and I'm sorry about that, but but they're not just regular bad guys either. And this guy is a boss. He's the first boss that you meet in the game. Dave had loads of practice with this guy.
I did, yeah. I wanted to beat him really, really well. You know, not just a little bit well. So I
punish him.
I took my time over him, and he over me.
We were playing on screens next to each other. I got quite a way through the game, but I'm cheating basically. I played a pyromancer for my big run through Dark Souls, and I'm quite, with range, the kind of the bosses are easier to negotiate a little bit when you've got these kind of free. I'm using firebombs too. This is what this guy does. I guess his name is like Udix Gundyr.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
And I don't know. He's some kind of guardian. This is really, really early on the start area. This is before you've even reached the hub of Dark Souls 3, which we're going to show you in another video. This kind of corruption, this kind of, I don't know if that's, I'm thinking maybe it's kind of like charred or it's ash. I'm not really sure. We've seen it in the previous videos we've done. It just happens to some of the undead. Obviously, when it happens to Udix here, he becomes extraordinarily powerful.
Yes.
It's like he's got like a big kind of snake on his back.
There's something in the red eyes as well, isn't there, Nate? There's a few enemies in the game that have glowing red eyes. I don't understand what that means yet.
Means they're just pretty strong. So
it does mean that, yeah.
So I just basically spammed him with fire. Sorry, that wasn't not a brilliant way to kill him, but he is dead. That's the important thing. Air of fire destroyed. My ember's been restored there, and we've got a coiled sword, which is how we set up the bonfire inside the hub, which is Firelink Shrine. Now, this is an area that was locked off in the stress test, which is the kind of the last. So this is High Wall of Lothric, and this is the kind of the last thing you do before you get to the next area, where there was a dancer of the Frigid Valley.
Yeah.
She was in the cathedral last time.
That's right.
Not there no more. There's a lady who tells you to come downstairs instead. She says, "Go, just walk to the edge of the wall and wave this banner around." And so you go down there, and instead of that, what you actually have to do first is fight this like armored dog.
Oh.
What's cool about this character is called Vort of the Boreal Valley. So it's like these themes of again, like if you saw the last video we did about 5 enemies in Dark Souls from the network test that we got into. There was also like a frozen night character. There's lots of these bosses, certainly in this early area. Like obviously the game is about kind of ash and fire, but also about kind of being frozen. Frigid Valley and Boreal Valley, they're both kind of like very kind of snowy.
Absolutely.
Arctic. That's how well I did on my first go. And I took to heart some of the stuff that people said about when we were doing the Bloodborne DLC, and I had a very bad go at killing Ludwig. And they were just saying, just stick close. Like when the bosses are kind of, like scuttling around like that, just stay really in close, which goes against my strengths as a pyromancer. But it is what I did. But I was basically crouching under Vort's undercarriage, just throwing fire up at him.
Yeah.
He's a big lad.
He is a big guy, but I remember watching you do this, and it did work. It did work. The rolling beneath him, he really didn't have too much to say about that.
No, he's an agile guy, but so yeah, this is his other attack. You kind of when you get him down a little bit, you can't really see it from this side. He's just blowing kind of winter.
Yeah.
At me. I'm doing very well, I thought, at this point actually, and then just kind of get hemmed in. All you have to do is make a couple of mistakes, and with that big old mace, Vort, he's going to get you.
I see he's got glowing blue eyes.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Cold and heat. There's definitely a sort of a yin and yang going on here, isn't there?
From this point, I would like to say, I remember talking to you and a couple of the other people who were watching me, just going, this is it. I'm out. Can't do it. What's going on?
Pretty sure I said don't give up at this point.
You did that a few times actually, and I didn't, Dave. I continued to burn his undercarriage. He's a really, again, like every time we see a boss from Dark Souls, just the relentlessness of the kind of strangeness of the design.
Yeah.
I don't know how they keep doing it.
I don't know where he gets it from.
So this is one that isn't a boss, okay? So this was me actually, we embered up because we wanted to, there's another boss through here, and I wanted to try and find summonable character.
Yeah.
And instead what happened is I got invaded by Holy Knight Hodrick. And then also, this is another of the new enemies here. This isn't Hodrick. This is just a very angry person with some wood strapped to their back.
Yeah.
They cause me probably the most problems out of all the regular NPCs. And then just me and Hodrick were having a bit of a showdown.
Hodrick was furious with you. He really wasn't going to let it go.
He wasn't, no. And he also has some fire, even though he's a holy knight. So I guess miracles are really his bag. Healing himself there, and also look, he's using his new combat arts, the new skills. I didn't really use them. What I did use was rolling backwards into a sewer full of massive rats.
That's an unusual tactic.
Yeah.
Did that work out for you? The rats, luckily, nope. There they are.
Yeah, the rats objected to it. So next time I got to high ground and simply threw fire on him. Where's your god now?
Is there any chance, Nath, that you won't do your full playthrough of the game as a pyromancer? Because
a reasonable chance, although from what I've played so far, having a bit of range is really, really useful. Although starting off, the pyromancer, I couldn't use any of the weapons I found in about 4 hours of play, and I wasn't strong enough to use the bow either. So is limiting in some ways and not others. That's me taking on the spirit. I've done these in order, so the next thing that we see is probably the biggest and weirdest boss that we came to. Dave was actually, you were much better at this than me, and you called it as well, because Miyazaki had been saying that the boss, he thinks everyone's going to be really impressed with how complicated the maps and the areas are, which we were, and also that the bosses, he tried to do something different with each one, and they're kind of themed to the areas, and almost straight away you were like, these people seem to have lots of roots in them. You're going to be fighting a tree.
we saw a lot of sort of dead bodies that had been just kind of completely overtaken by root systems, and
it was a bit like The Last of Us but with trees.
Exactly, yeah. It's nature taking back
Corruption.
what is it. Oh, that's a terrible sentence, but you know what I'm saying. And
and the curse rotted greatwood was kind of, you can see him there. He's kind of sat down, and we for a long time we played this through. How many goes do you reckon we had? 10.
Yeah, 10.
And eventually, you came up with a much better method of killing all the NPCs. They do drop as well from his branches, but not very often. And that allows you to get right into what we did discover was the weak spot.
Yes, or spots.
Yeah, which is the obvious thing in there.
Exactly. You're looking at it right now, and you're thinking, I know why I've got to hit him, but you don't want to go right there.
No. I think this is your tactic, by the way. So you've cleared everyone out. You run right in there and you just let him have it.
Yeah.
Right in the kind of, I don't even want to describe
the fungal area. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has to creep out of his corner first before he can launch an attack on you.
I have to get it out there.
Full fungal.
Yeah.
So if you go for it before that, you can head straight to stage 2, which is down below.
So yeah, this is your very quick and efficient way of getting through there. So you have to be patient with the NPC characters, and then with all the ads, and then he grows an extra arm. You were saying it was like there might be something else that comes out of the.
If you look
tree.
at it, there's definitely something in there.
It's
it's not just an arm. He's not just sprouted an arm. There is something living inside that tree.
There's a moment in a second.
Foul.
I think it's in this capture where it looks his two arms, one from the front, make look like a kind of a body. Once you're down here, he kind of rolls around, which then leaves these other kind of pustuled areas exposed. And that's what you have to. You can hit his new arm, or you can hit these kind of clusters of things.
Yeah.
And that does damage, and they're kind of minor damage. And then when they burst, they do quite big damage. But it's quite hard to aim at them.
Yeah.
And then if you go around the front, that happens. He just smashes your face off.
Yeah. It's a really interesting sort of conundrum, because you can only aim at his body. You can't aim at the individual little pustules, so you have to kind of, if you're going to take him at range, you kind of have to wait for your moment exactly.
More patient than we were being quite patient.
We were.
But I think it's just quite a tough one. If you can find a way to be in front of him without getting swiped by that arm, then you're in business,
yeah.
I think. Final one, which is, I just wanted to capture it at the end. I'll give a shout out to Tom from PC Gamer, who was the one who told me how to get here. Look who it is, Dave. It's the Onion Knight.
Look at him.
This is actually Siegward of the Knights of Katarina, who I guess is some kind of relation to was it Siegmeyer, which was the one in Dark Souls. So there's a lift kind of puzzle here, and you have to roll off the lift to get the lift to go in a certain direction, and then roll off it, and then this is like a new area of the undead settlement that we were exploring anyway, and I wanted to get in here because there's a big fiery creature, and like Tom beat him. And he showed me how to get to him, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get this capture. Like the PRs were literally saying, guys, you got to wrap it up, and I was like, I'm just gonna kill him.
Yeah, just 5 more minutes. I'll just do 5 more minutes. So I'll take him out.
So then I was like listening to Siegward. He was like, I'm gonna come and help you, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna let Siegward join in the fight, and then we'll get. And then I was like, oh my god. Yeah, but as soon as the first hit got me, the second one came right in, and that was the end of me.
That guy is cool, isn't he?
So I wanted to show him, but yeah, he basically busted me right up, and then we ran out of time, so I couldn't. I haven't shown him as fully as I'd like to.
No.
But I wanted to give you guys a glimpse. Yeah, he is. I mean, if we're talking about ice and fire, that guy. So I'm guessing he's fire.
Yeah, he's really made himself well known there.
Hot. So thank you for watching that. That is a look at some of the bigger bad guys that you will be facing in Dark Souls 3, which is shaping up real nice. We're going to have loads more of it on the channel this week, so stay tuned.